In the Marvel Universe, the Skrulls are an evil species of imperialist aliens. Throughout several decades of Marvel Comics, the Skrulls have frequently appeared as enemies of the Fantastic Four and participants in a protracted conflict with the alien Kree. The species has been represented in Marvel media as malevolent on certain occasions and as any other sentient race with its own aspirations, anxieties, prejudices, and so forth on other occasions, similar to how some people are depicted as villains, some as heroes, and most fall somewhere in between. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video to learn more about the Skrulls. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Creation of the Skrull race by the Celestials. The Andromeda Galaxy's fierce warrior Skrulls are a species of green-skinned humanoids that established the longest surviving empire in the history of the universe. They originated as a peaceful, scientifically minded species on the planet Skrullos in the Drax system. The Celestials arrived about 1 billion years ago and conducted experiments on the Skrulls. 3 races were created as a result of the experiments. The Skrullian externals were bestowed with eternal life. The Skrullian normals were capable of swiftly developing into beings resembling Celestials in the future. The Celestials granted natural shape-shifting abilities to the Skrullian deviants. The Deviants destroyed the other 2 factions when the Celestials left. These deviant Skrulls are the ancestors of the Skrulls. The Skrulls' ability to change their form facilitated their ascent into space. They simply shape-shifted to imitate a new race when they came across one. These interactions led to the creation of the Skrull Empire, which was founded on the principles of reciprocal assistance and free commerce. When the Skrulls first emerged, they were preparing an invasion fleet to conquer Earth. They used their ability to shapeshift to pose as the Fantastic Four, since they knew they were the only ones who could defeat them. But when the Four managed to locate the Skrulls, they deceived them into believing that the Earth was a dangerous place. The Skrulls that were left after the fleet dispersed were turned into cows by Mr. Fantastic, who also brainwashed them to forget their true heritage. Animosity with the Kree. The Skrulls traveled to the Magellanic Clouds and the Milky Way. They located the Kree home planet of Hala in their former cluster. The Kree cohabitated Hala with the Kotati plant race at this early stage of their culture's development. With their sophisticated technology, the Skrull chose to prefer one of the races, so they created a test to identify that race. The Skrulls brought bands of Kree and Kotati, who also informed the blue area of the moon. It was up to both groups to achieve what they could. The Skrulls thought the Kotati's creations to be better. This infuriated the Kree, who then launched a brutal attack in which they killed the Kotati and Skrull judges. The Kree took the Skrull spaceship and its technology. Decades passed before the Skrulls heard about the Kree's actions due to the great distances involved. By the time they got to know about the incident, the Kree were already powerful enough to challenge them in their galaxy. The centuries that followed saw the Skrulls become more brutal, fighting across the galaxy. Their entire culture was altered in the image of the warrior. Skrulls found a space warp between Earth and Throne World, which is how they first learned about Earth. Later, they learned that Hala and the Earth are connected by an equidistant link. Although they are happy to postpone a complete invasion, they view Earth as a world to be conquered. Perhaps they were concerned that the Kree would discover the scheme. The Skrulls have deployed a small number of scout warriors to invade Earth out of caution. Destruction of the Throne World. The Skrull capital was moved to Tarnex IV, which is now called Throne World, 100,000 years ago. A governor governs each of the 978 worlds, and an emperor rules the empire as a whole. Galactus consumed the Throne World, and Nova wiped out the Imperial Starfleet. In the absence of a centralized authority, the Skrull Empire disintegrated into thousands of quarreling groups. Several governors in their galaxy proclaimed themselves to be the Emperor of the Skrulls. The Shi'ar continued to have a strong presence in the old empire as well. dealing with waves of resistance. Losing the ability to change their shape has been the worst blow to the Skrulls. Reed Richards, along with a governor-turned-emperor, was responsible for achieving this. When their genetic bomb detonated, all Skrulls lost their shape-shifting abilities. Whatever shape they were in at the moment of the explosion, they were trapped in it. In an effort to convince Galactus to destroy Kree's worlds for them, they succeeded in capturing the Herald of Galactus, Nova, out of desperation. When the Silver Surfer assisted Galactus in saving Nova in exchange for his release from Earth, their scheme fell apart. Second conflict with Kree. The Skrulls were not as powerful as they once were without their ability to shapeshift. When the Celestials showed up again, the Skrulls, in order to prove their dominance, launched a second conflict against the Kree. Kyler, who was one of the 5 governors claiming to be the Emperor, launched the first assault against the Kree. He had deployed a spy named Nonora among the ranks of the Kree, which gave him an undue advantage. However, despite their best efforts to hide the secret, Nonora betrayed Kyler and the entire race of Skrulls in order to take control of the Empire. After that, Empress Sybil took charge of the Skrulls to end the conflict. She resurrected the Super Skrull, and when he came back, he saw the Empire in ruins. They deceived the Silver Surfer into attacking a fleet of Badoons that was cooperating with the Kree. He joined forces with the Skrulls to protect the Zenla after the Kree attacked the Surfer. The Super Skrulls' DNA had to be passed on to Sybil in order for the Skrulls to regain their abilities, because only a female Skrull could transmit the capability to the other Skrulls. The Empress's shape-shifting talents would be restored by a contraption that was powered by the Surfer. She was able to heal any Skrull she came in contact with, making her the rightful Empress of the Skrulls. The Silver Surfer assisted her and Super Skrull as they battled the Kree. Captain Reptile, who she substituted for Super Skrull, assisted in transforming her into a heartless reptile. However, one of Reptile's own betrayed him, and the Kree completely annihilated the Skrull fleet. Sybil and Silver Surfer headed off on their own to assault Hala, the Kree homeland. Their advantage came from learning that Nonora was, in fact, a Skrull. Sybil restored her shape-shifting skills, rendering her immobile and revealing to the Kree who she really was. A peaceful agreement was made. The Skrulls later violated that agreement since they continued to have a military mindset and would rather fight than communicate. Other races inside the Skrull Empire include the Guna, Druff, Morani, Kalasina, Farragut, Yerbik, and Tecton. In contrast, some other races maintain their independence through agreements or outright opposition, like the Gegku, Cleggramites, Krylorians, Xandarians, and Wilhelminus. The devastation of Xandar by Nebula brought an end to the Skrull-Xandarian conflict. Annihilation of Skrull Empire. The Skrull Empire was severely damaged when the annihilation wave struck from the negative zone. The Skrulls, currently led by Baroness Sabak, were barely prepared for the assault. She also refused to heed the advice of Kl'rt, the first Super Skrull. The Skrulls were therefore forced to the brink of extinction. The remaining Skrull lands were given to Ravenous once Annihilus was defeated. Posing as the Avengers to invade Earth. In the upcoming major Marvel event, Secret Invasion, the Skrulls will serve as the primary villains. Black Bolt and Elektra's replacements by Skrulls have previously been established, while Revolutionary and Crusader, 2 new superheroes, are Skrulls attempting to infiltrate the initiative. It has been made clear that the Skrull invasion was motivated by religion. Since they first appear in the early Fantastic Four stories, they have been attempting to invade Earth because, according to their sacred books, it is their rightful territory. Every time they've tried to invade, Earth's heroes, particularly the Fantastic Four and Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, have stopped them. The Skrulls' ability to shapeshift has been greatly enhanced during this invasion. Iron Man believes that it is impossible to identify the Skrulls. Since this revelation, Earth's heroes are under a great deal of stress because they are now wary of their own comrades. Longtime allies may suddenly be Skrulls operating incognito. Several of the Skrull invaders have also been observed to possess a variety of skills and talents. This is demonstrated in New Avengers number 39, where the Skrull that assaults Cyclops, Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler demonstrates its ability to wield a number of X-Men powers. A Skrull spacecraft has now arrived in the Savage Land at the start of the invasion. The Secret Avengers and Iron Man are on their way to find it. Nick Fury, Norman Osborn, and Deadpool each made a unique effort to stop the Skrull invasion. Deadpool was instructed instructed by Nick Fury to infiltrate a Skrull spacecraft and transfer information on the Queen to him. Deadpool was successful in getting them to pretend to be him, and they wrecked a ship full of Skrulls. They defeated other Super Skrulls thanks to the healing aspect, but it also wiped them out. As a result of Norman Osborn stealing the material he had posted, Queen Varanke was assassinated in front of a large audience. Skrulls in the MCU. The Chitauri, also known as the Ultimate Skrulls, are a group of alien invaders sent by Loki to assault Earth and take it over in the first Avengers movie. They only showed up during Loki's Tesseract-powered portal invasion during the climactic confrontation between the Avengers, the Chitauri, and Loki himself. Despite carrying their name, they don't resemble their ultimate counterparts all that much. In reality, Thanos was identified as their commander at the movie's conclusion. In the Captain Marvel movie, Talos, played by Ben Mendelsohn, is one of the Skrulls. The Skrulls and the Kree have been at war for a long time, much like their comic book counterparts. The Skrulls, however, are presented in a considerably more sympathetic light than their comic book counterparts. In order to escape the Kree's murderous activities, Talos and his party fled to Earth and sought Mar-Vell's assistance. Carol Danvers leads the remaining Skrulls in search of a new planet to colonize after she beats Yon-Rogg at the end of the movie. Other versions of the Skrulls. The Skrulls are the native Martian residents in Amalgam Comics after fusing DC's Green Martians with them. A Martian Skrull is someone like Mr. X, who is a hybrid of Professor X and the Martian Manhunter. Thanos had a home in the realm of the dead with the entity Death in the Earth X parallel world storyline. When Death exploited her secret to convince him that she was his mother, it was discovered that his mother was a Skrull. Bruce Banner, the only human remaining on Earth, is informed by an alien recorder robot in the one-shot comic book Hulk: The End that the death of humanity was enthusiastically applauded across the cosmos, to the point where the Kree and the Skrulls reconciled their differences in joy. In Ultimate Marvel, the Skrull Emperor Kl'rt, who has ruled the race for 1 billion years, is in charge. The Skrulls do not wish to be associated with the Chitauri, who they consider terrorists. Although they have highly developed technology, shapeshifting has not been seen in them. The only other universe in which these Skrulls appeared was the one in which Reed Richards used his teleporter to make contact with their planet. However, the circumstances that led to the other timeline were changed in Ultimate Fantastic Four number 29, such that contact was never established. In Marvel's What If, at the conclusion of the secret invasion on Earth 10,021, the Skrulls triumphed and the heroes were defeated. In this world, Skrulls lived alongside humans on Earth and were viewed as friendly beings. Despite assisting humanity with technology and medical treatment, they are really secretly transforming them into beings like themselves. This includes Norman Osborn, who married Queen Varanke while the heroes were hiding in Wakanda since they were now viewed as criminals. Ultimately, the heroes dispersed a virus that killed all Skrulls and those who had been transformed into Skrulls, with the exception of Osborn, who had assumed the identity of Iron Man. The Super Skrull from Earth 616 shares certain skills with the Skrullian Skymaster, a founding member of the Squadron Supreme. Squadron Supreme number 1, 1989, included a flashback of the figure. Squadron Supreme New World Order expanded on that appearance. What makes Skrulls the greatest foe for Marvel heroes? The Skrulls can alter their appearance to resemble any object or being. Skrulls may create weapons from various body parts by using their shape-shifting abilities. They may, for instance, form their arms into swords or clubs. They are dangerous hand-to-hand warriors because of this skill. Skrulls can imitate noises and speech, making them adept spies. This generally goes along with the shapes they can change into.
What the hell?
That one's gonna hurt the girl.
Marvelous verdict. The Skrulls have managed to cement their reputation as one of the most challenging adversaries the Avengers had to encounter. They were bred to be ferocious soldiers with the only motive of conquering the galaxy. Their ability to shapeshift, along with their intelligence, made it all more difficult for the Avengers to defeat them. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.